All right, how's it going, y'all? So in today's video, we're going to be enhancing the Mega Diance EX Battle Box deck. And I did a video for the Gengar deck. That video did really well, one of my better videos in recent times. And a lot of the comments were, hey, when are you going to do the Diance deck? Well, I've been working on it all week. It's been a bit tougher. I feel like Gengar was easy to make adjustments. There was an even flow for what worked well with it. But Diance, I feel like, is made for Gardevoir. All the references, all the videos I looked at paired Diance with Gardevoir. And I didn't want to do that in my video. That's the easy way out. I wanted something a bit more strategic, a bit more unique. And so I think I found a really good way to enhance the Diance deck. But let's look at what just comes in the box. Shoot, what is happening? There we go. Let's look at what comes in the box for the Diance deck before we get into the adjustments I made. So to start off, Mega Diance, the reason it pairs so well with Gardevoir, and if you do play Gardevoir, I would look at playing Mega Diance in it, or at least trying it out. I'm not going to cover that in this video, but just know it works really well with Gardevoir EX. So its ability, Diamond Coat, this Pokemon takes 20 less damage from attacks after applying weakness and resistance. So that's good, especially since it's a basic kind of lower HP Mega Pokemon and you're at risk of 3 prize cards. It's good she takes less damage. Pair that with a Bravery Charm and you can really boost her up just a little bit. But her move, Garland Ray, does 120x. So for 2 Psychic Energies, you can discard up to 2 energies from this Pokemon. It doesn't say Psychic, it just says 2 energies. And this attack does 120 for each card you discarded in this way. So that's 240 for 2 energies. That's pretty good. The problem is you have to discard them. So there are some new trainers that came in this deck that I'll go over that kind of help with the energy retrieval, but let's talk about some of the other Pokemon in this deck. So we got Cresselia. This one was seen in the pre-release decks for Zacian. And speaking of Zacian, Zacian's right here. But for 1 Psychic Energy, Swelling Light, search your deck for up to 2 basic Psychic Energy cards, attach them to this Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. So that's a good way to get energies onto your Pokemon. Just use an energy switch and get them to Diance. Again, this is a level 2 battle deck, so it's not fantastic out of the box. It's not going to hold its own at a league event, but it certainly gives you the cards to get started. So once you make your enhancements, it's a pretty strong deck. Spoink is there to evolve into Grumpig, which has an ability. This one was in the pre-release deck as well. This one was in the pre-release deck for Mega Evolution for the Alakazam deck. Energized Steps. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may use this ability. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, attach any number of basic energy cards that you find there to your Pokemon in any way you like. So that's a good way to load up your Diance, but you need pretty good odds to find some energy cards in the top 4 of your deck. We also got Meloetta, which is actually the promo that comes in the deck. It's a nice illustration rare. Soothing Melody. For 1 Psychic Energy, you can heal your benched Psychic Pokemon or heal one of your benched Psychic Pokemon. So that's good, getting damage off Diance since you're not playing a Monkey Dory in this deck. She's really just there to keep your opponent from getting 3 prizes. We got Alcremie, which has 20 damage for each Pokemon in play. That's pretty good for a 1 prizer for 1 Psychic Energy. That could add up pretty well. We got Mimikyu for Call for Family. This is really just a supporter Pokemon to get early game, to get Pokemon onto your bench. So you can look for any basic Pokemon from your deck. So that includes Mega Diance. So Mimikyu is great if you start that in your hand, or if you have a Nest Ball, you can get that out there and get your Diance out there early game. The final one is Zacian. Limit Break. If your opponent has 3 of your prize cards remaining, this attack does 90 more damage. So that's all right. There's nothing to write home about. The main thing you're getting is the promo that comes with it and the Mega Diance cards early. So this does come with a few new Phantasmal Flames cards, which you are getting early. This deck is not going to be legal in competitive play until 2 weeks after Phantasmal comes out. So you can certainly play this with friends. You can practice with it, but you can't legally play it in a competition until early December. But we are getting some previews at some new Phantasmal Flames cards. We got Wondrous Patch, a really great Psychic Energy card that could go good with Gardevoir. Attach a basic energy card from your... Actually, no. Do not use this with Gardevoir because that ruins her ability. Attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. Again, a good way to boot up Mega Diance, especially since you're discarding 2 when you attack with her. We're also getting Wally's Compassion, which we saw in Mega Evolution. This just heal all damage for one of your Mega Evolution Pokemon to keep Diance healthy and keeping your opponent from getting 3 prize cards. We've got a Professor's Research. We've got, let's see, Mystery Garden. Once during each player's turn, that player may discard an energy from their hand in order to draw a card. Draw a card for as many... Draw until they have as many cards in their hand as they have Psychic Pokemon. Okay. So just another good way to discard energies, get them with the Wondrous Patch. We do have a switch, Night Stretcher. It looks like everything else kind of standard stuff. We're not going to talk about that too much because we're going to make adjustments anyways. We do get 4 Lily's Determinations, which is great. Lily's Determination, I think you need in every deck. It's so strong. It's such a great card. It is definitely one you want to keep in there. And then, of course, we're using 14 energies. These build and battle decks always come with usually more energies because they're kind of built for beginners and people just casually playing the game. And so you don't have a lot of energy searches. They're just loading them up with energy so you can make sure you can always have some that you need. But that is Mega Diance out of the box. We don't want to use that in competitive play. We want to enhance it. Alrighty, so let's go through some of the edits I've made. And like I said, Gardevoir works really well with Diance. I'm actually working on a Gardevoir deck that I can play IRL, but you're not here for that. You're here for the more unique adjustments to Diance to make Diance the star and not Gardevoir the star. So let's go over the enhanced deck. Okay, so for the Mega Diance adjustments, we're running 2 Mega Diance, 17 Pokemon overall, 32 trainers, and 11 energies. Pretty well balanced. And as you can see from these Pokemon, it's a little bit of a toolbox, but not a full toolbox. There are adjustments you can make depending on your opponent, but it's not something that's like good for literally every situation out there. It's just kind of like a miniature toolbox, if you will. Okay, so let's talk about the starting point. We've got 2 Mega Diance, and my thought process behind this was, okay, Diance's main downfall is the discarding of energies, and so we need something that can help with energy mitigation, which is where Blissey EX comes into play. So Blissey EX is a stage 1, so we're also running 3 Chansey, but 2 Blissey EX. Its move, Happy Switch. Once during your turn, you may move a basic energy from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. So as you can see, it's really good for getting those energies where they need to be. Now, of course, energies take some time to build up, and so this deck is a little bit of a stall deck early on, and then once you have your Pokemon set up, it really ramps up and you can do some heavy hitters quite often. But one quick note about the Chansey. So we just need Chansey there to evolve into Blissey. I did choose the Lucky Bonus Chansey. It's not very common. It's very rare that Lucky Bonus actually works out. But if you're not familiar, it's if you took this card as a prize card and your bench is not full, you can put Chansey directly onto your bench and then take another prize card. So it's possible you could take an additional prize card, but it's very rare that you'll actually be able to use this Lucky Bonus ability. But if you can, hey, it's more beneficial than just a no ability Chansey. Okay, so let's talk about early game. So we have got Mew EX, which its ability Restart is a classic supporting Pokemon for drawing cards. So you have 3 cards in your hand. But the main early blockers will be Cornerstone Ogerpon EX. So this Pokemon has an ability, Cornerstone Stance, which also I apologize. You probably sound or hear how congested I am. It's been a very allergy heavy week. But Cornerstone's ability allows it to prevent damage done to this Pokemon by Pokemon who have an ability, which is great. Most Pokemon have an ability. But in the off chance that you run into a deck that don't have abilities, hopefully it'll be a deck that runs basic EX Pokemon. So like, let's see here. Of course, drawing blank. Absol, Mega Kangaskhan, Raging Bolt is a great one that you can block. And then, oh shoot, there's so many others. Of course, I'm drawing blank because I'm trying to think on the spot. But Fari Giraffe EX has an ability, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's basic Pokemon EX. So you have one of 2 blockers. Most of the time you'll find you go into Cornerstone Ogerpon EX. That's a bit stronger. Fiery Giraffe is great if you run into a Gardevoir or another Psychic deck that has a weakness to Darkness. And so Gardevoir has a weakness to Darkness, so Fiery Giraffe does 160 times 2, and it also does 30 damage to one of their bench Pokemon. So pretty decent. A Fiery Giraffe I feel like you won't use as often in this deck. It's more of a supplemental addition, but it's there and it's useful. I was able to use it during playtesting. And then, of course, it's a stage 1, so we'll need 2 Giraffarigs. You may be able to get by with just 1, but I always like to have basics as 2 if I need it, just in case I prize it. You wouldn't want to prize that because then you wouldn't be able to use your Fiery Giraffe. Some other supporters we're using in this deck is Latias EX. Since we're using a lot of basic Pokemon like the Diancie, Cornerstone, Mew, Blood Moon or Saluna, Lily's Clefairy, a lot of basics. Latias's ability to have no retreat cost for basic Pokemon is really beneficial, especially for getting Diancie out of there so it's not vulnerable to attacks, and then promoting Ursaluna late game if you need it. And speaking of Ursaluna is great late game. It's a good addition to this deck. It's a heavy hitter. I feel like all of the attacks of the other Pokemon, they're strong, but they're kind of middle of the road with how the meta is right now. So Blood Moon Ursaluna is great for if you need to do a heavy hitting attack, 240 for either 1 or no energies. And just as a recap, its ability allows you to use 1 less energy for each prize card your opponent has taken. So very common late game in toolboxes. We also have Lily's Clefairy. Since we are playing a Psychic-based deck, it makes sense to add this in here with its ability Fairy Zone. Your opponent's Dragon Pokemon, its weakness is now Psychic, so great for Dragapult. I don't run into many Dragapult nowadays. It's kind of come and gone, I feel like, but it is still the number 1 or 2 deck in the meta, so it's always good to have Lily's Clefairy in your decks. So Mega Diance, load her up with Blissey's ability Happy Switch. Early game blocks, you've got either a choice between Ogerpon or Fiery Giraffe. You'll find yourself using Ogerpon more often. It is the only one without a Psychic Energy, so we are running 2 Fighting Energies in case you need it, but most of the other energies are Psychic. A pretty well-balanced toolbox, and you see what I mean. It's kind of like a miniature toolbox. It's not great for every situation, but it does have its uses. And then, of course, your main mid-game attacker is that Diancie, who can do 240 damage, which is quite a bit. It's not a ton. It's not the strongest card there is, but this is a Diancie deck video, so it makes sense to make her the main attacker. Now let's talk about the trainers. Everything is kind of the same. So we are running 3 Bravery Charms. Since we are running so many basic Pokemon, especially with low HP, like this Mew EX, it's got 180 HP, Diancie's got 270, Ogerpon 210. A lot of these basics are really susceptible to one-hit KOs, which especially with how strong other cards in the meta are right now. So these Bravery Charms are just good to add to them to help hopefully prevent one-hit KOs, so they can either prevent your opponent from taking either 2 or even 3 prize cards with the Mega Diance. We're also playing our ace spec of Precious Trolley, which is search your deck for any number of basic Pokemon and put them on your bench. This is really great since it is a little bit of a toolbox. You'll kind of need to see what your opponents are playing, and that'll determine what you will play. And so once you kind of get a good idea of what your opponent's playing, use an Arven, pick up Precious Trolley, and you can load up your bench with exactly what you need. We're also keeping 4 Wonder Patch. This was in the Diancie deck. They're great for attaching energy cards from your discard to your benched Pokemon. Keep in mind, it is the benched Pokemon, so if you want to load it up into Diancie, make sure to put them on the bench. However, with Blissey's ability, it really doesn't matter because you can add it to the bench and then use her ability to switch it. So Blissey is really great for energy management. Let's see, all these are the same. We are running a town store. We're just running one of them. I'm not fully sure what stadium I want to land on in this deck, but town store is great for getting the Bravery Charm. I may even add a TM Devo just to add to the disruption of this deck. That could be a bit handy since we are hitting with less damage in most cases, especially for modern Mega Pokemon. TM Devo might be beneficial. I also added 2 pennies. It is put at one of your basic Pokemon and all attached cards into your hand. This is really great for Diancie if she has a lot of damage on her. We're not playing Monkey Dory, so no real way to get damage off of your Pokemon. So penny is good for kind of resetting the damage on Diancie to keep your opponent from getting 3 prize cards. These 4 are the same. We are running an air balloon. Blissey's retreat cost is 4, Fari Giraffe is 2. And so if one of those 2 Pokemon gets stuck in the active, the air balloon is great for getting them out of there, since Latias's ability doesn't really apply to non-basic Pokemon. For Lily's Determination, one of the best new cards in the new era. I feel like every deck from now on will be playing at least 4 Lily's Clefairy, or at least 2 Lily's Clefairy, but most of them will be running 4. That's kind of the general consensus of what I've seen. Running 2 Earthen Vessels. This is not really for the psychic energies. This is for the fighting energies. So if you are running Cornerstone and you want to attack with Cornerstone, let's see, I can't remember which Pokemon has a weakness to fighting. I think maybe Mega Absol. So if you really want to attack with the Cornerstone, you can use the Earthen Vessel to get that fighting energy. And then, of course, Arven to help get the Bravery Charm, help get the Earthen Vessel, the Precious Trolley. Arven is always a good one to have to get the stuff you need. And then I've touched on it a little bit, but just a recap, 9 Psychic Energies and 2 Fighting Energies. I may even bump that down to 8 Psychic Energies and maybe add another Arven or another air balloon. I don't know, because we do have the town store, so we could get the air balloon pretty easily. But yeah, this is this deck. I've been playtesting it a little bit. The 2 Latias, I don't love having 2 Latias there, but there are many times where I have prized Latias and it is detrimental because you need the ability to move Pokemon around. So I've learned it's better to waste a spot in your deck with a second Latias than be stranded with Latias being prized. It's horrible. It's a horrible feeling to know the Latias has been prized, but that's about it. I appreciate you for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.